So please everyone note down this sum. Consider a 15-meter long concrete pipe with a cross section of 0.45 meter by 0.45 meter fully embedded in sand. For the sand, given unit weight gamma is 17 kilonewton per cubic meter and the soil friction angle is 35 degree. Estimate the ultimate point bearing capacity QP with each of the following methods: Meyerhof method, Visick method, the method of Coyle and Castello, and based on the results of the parts A, B and C, adopt a value for QP. The second sum is, consider a pipe having an outside diameter of 406 millimeter. The embedded length of the pipe is layered in saturated clay is 30 meter. The following are the details of the subsoil. The subsoil strata are given up to a depth of 30 meter, which is divided into three layers. From 0.5, unit weight of the clay is 18 and Cu is 30 kilopascals. From 5 to 10 meter, unit weight of the soil is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter and Cu is 30 kilopascals. And from 10 to 30 meter, saturated unit weight of the clay is 19.6 kilonewton per cubic meter and undrained cohesion is 100 kilopascals. Given the groundwater table is located at a depth of 5 meter from the ground surface, estimate the point bearing capacity of a pile using Meyerhof's method and Visick method. So the first one deals with pile foundation in sand, while the latter one deals with the pile foundation in clay. So other important aspects are, the pile length is 15 meter in sand. However, this is a square section. It's not a circular. It is a square cross section. Since this pile is constructed in the sand, so therefore the friction angle of the sand given is 35 degree. While in the latter sum, this is cylindrical pile having a diameter of 406 millimeter. So try to distinguish the pile cross section from the first sum and the second sum. In the first sum it is a square cross section, in the second sum it is a cylinder. And in the first sum the pile length is 15 meter, in the second sum the pile length is 30 meter. So could anybody able to give me a kind of a solution using the Meyerhof method or Visick method or Coyle and Castello? Anybody? Anyone could able to provide me the solution? Because all the handouts, everything was given. Just look into the handouts. So try to see what kind of Meyerhof methods equations are available and try to get the parameters and substitute. So then what you will get is pile load capacity. Anyone?
Sir, for Mayoff, directly we have formula, na, sir. QP equals to AQ, Q dash NQ star.
Yeah, there's direct formula.
And basic also we have same.
Yes, basic also all equations are available. Maybe I have to ask everybody.
Sir, for Mayoff, I am getting 7,300.
7,300. Okay, fine. Good. So try to use other methods also. Yeah, that's Amidijan, Banu Meena.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am getting some error of 162.21 kilonewton, sir.
Did you verify for both point bearing capacity, which shall be less than
Yes, sir.
QPL?
Yes, sir. Like by a simple formula, it is getting 7,384, and but
Fine.
for like less than Q ultimate APQ ultimate, I am getting 162.21, sir. So
Great.
that's
And try to do by basic method and Koile cascade method also.
okay, sir.
Great. Very good. Yeah. Bukia Bhaskar.
Sir, calculating Mayoff by Mayoff method, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what is the equation?
QP equal to AP into Q dash into NQ.
Okay. What is the value of NQ? Did you pick up the value of NQ from the table? Just see the handout that was forwarded to you. There, for a given friction angle, value of NQ can be picked up. Jagadish, Dasar Jagadishwar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm calculating, sir. I'm seeing this.
Okay. So which method?
Sir, by Mayoff.
Oh, still at the Mayoff only.
Hello?
Still are you still at the Mayoff only?
Yes, sir. Just now I log in.
Okay. Bhavyasri?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So did you try?
I have calculated using Mayoff. I got 1014 kilometers.
Okay.
I'm doing using basic.
Okay. Ritwik, you have done it. Venkat Sai, Venkat Nagasai.
Hello, sir. I'm doing
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Raviteja.
Sir, I'm started now only, sir.
We just now started. Okay.
Sir,
Nice. Harshvardhan Meena.
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Please tell me.
Yes, sir. I'm doing, sir. Sir, I'm doing with mayor of. Sir.
Okay. Manish Bisnoy. Mayur Dubey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm trying for basic method.
Okay. Sri Harshita. Ravikant.
Yes, sir. The first one, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
Nothing, sir. Thank you, sir.
You are doing.
Yes, sir. Doing.
Okay. Partha Sharma.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm working on it.
Okay. Priyansh Kumar Nigam.
Yes, sir. I'm doing for basic now.
Okay. Very good. Romit Kesharwani.
Sir, I am also doing, sir.
Okay. Sagar Singh Rathod.
Yes, sir. For basic, I got around 260 kilonewton, sir.
Oh, great. Very good. Sweta.
Yes, sir. I'm doing for basic now, sir.
Okay. Satish Kumar. Ratna Shaili.
Yes, sir. I'm doing for basic, sir.
Oh, very good. Maunika.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are there. Great.
Yes, sir.
Oh, after a long time I'm speaking to you. Whenever I'm calling, you are not available. Are you doing?
Yes, sir. Doing basic.
Which method?
Basics method.
Okay, very good. Please. So for those who have already done it, so I don't need to re-emphasize again. The equation of Meyerhof is straightforward. The point bearing capacity of pile QP is nothing but AP into Q dash into NQ star as per the Meyerhof. So the point bearing capacity initially increases, then becomes constant. So that is approximately 15 times of D or something, 15 or 20 times of D. So here, in order to cover this one, so he has given some limiting value. So QP shall be less than or equal to Q limited. So that is nothing but AP into 0.5 into PA into NQ star into tan pi dash. So from the table, for a given pi dash of 35 degree, the value of NQ star can be picked up as 143, and you need to calculate the overburden pressure, that is Q dash, which is nothing but gamma into L. So given gamma is 17 kilonewton per cubic meter, length of the pile is 15 meter, so 17 multiplied by 15, so 255 kilonewton per square meter. So substitute now, because we now know NQ and Q dash. AP also, it is a simple cross-sectional area of the pile, that is 0.45 by 0.45 into 255 into 143. So total what you get is 7384 kilonewton. So please verify. So this is point bearing load, not the pressure. 7384 kilonewton, because we have multiplied the pressure with the cross-sectional area. However, this shall be less than or equal to Q limited value, that is AP into 0.5 into PA into NQ star into tan pi dash. So AP is nothing but 0.45 by 0.45, and the numeral value 0.5 into atmospheric pressure PA is 100 kilopascal, NQ star is 143, and multiplied by tan 35. So what we get is 1014 kilonewton. 1014 kilonewton. Since 1014 is less than 7384 kilonewton, so as per the Mayer half, the QP shall be considered as Q limited, that is 1014 kilonewton. So this is the solution by the Mayer half method. Now Vesic method, it is based on the theory of elasticity. So these are the equations. I am not emphasizing about this method because we rarely use this method for calculation of the pile load capacity. Only for understanding, I have given an example. Else, you don't need to remember about all these empirical equations of Vesic method. So in Vesic method, the equation for QP is AP into sigma naught dash into NQ star. So the equation for sigma naught dash is 1 plus 2 into 1 minus sin pi dash by 3 into Q dash. So substitute everything. Sin pi dash is sin 35. Q dash is 17 into 15. So if you substitute and simplify, what we get is 139.96. Now similarly, you have to pick up the value of the Young's modulus of the soil. So some predefined correlations are available. That empirical equation is ES by PA into M. So please refer to handouts. Now you can, since we are dealing with the sand, you can assume fine sand or coarse sand or medium sand. So here, just for the sake of an assumption, I assumed it is a medium sand with M is equal to 250. And once I know the M, I can able to calculate the Young's modulus of the soil, that is 250 into 100. So that will be 25,000 kilonewton per square meter. The next step is try to calculate the Poisson's ratio, that is mu s. The equation for it is 0.1 plus 0.3 into pi dash minus 25 by 20. So here only the angle of internal friction is to be known, pi dash. So substitute here and simplify. What we get is 0.25. That is the Poisson's ratio of the soil. Then compute the volumetric deformation, that is delta. Here also the equation is 0.005 into 1 minus pi dash minus 25 by 20 into Q dash by PA. So substitute and the volumetric deformation can be calculated as 0.0064. So then next is calculate the rigidity index value, that is IR. The equation for it is ES by 2 into 1 plus mu s into Q dash tan pi dash. So almost everything is known. ES we have calculated, the Poisson's ratio mu s was calculated, Q dash is nothing but 17 into 15 and pi dash is 35. So all the parameters are known. Substitute in the IR equation, then calculate it. So what we get is 56. The next step is IRR, reduced rigidity index, which is nothing but IR by 1 plus IR into delta. So that is 56 by 1 plus 56 into 0.0064. So this is a reduced rigidity index can be calculated as 41.2. Now once IRR is known, just please refer to handouts again. For a given pi dash and IRR, we can able to pick up the value of N sigma star. So for a calculated IRR of 41.2 and given pi dash of 35, N sigma dash can be picked up as 55. So with this, now we have calculated almost all the parameters. So substitute in the QP equation, that is AP into sigma naught dash into N sigma star. So AP is cross section of that pile, that is 0.45 by 0.45, and sigma naught star is calculated as 139.96 and the N sigma star is calculated as 55. So substitute, then calculate. So what we get is 1559 kilonewton. This point bearing capacity of the pile embedded in sand by Vesic method. So please note down.
Sir,
Yeah.
once can you move to the previous slide, sir? This. This delta value, where will we use, sir?
This delta value. IRR equation.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, 5 for 5 equal to 35, we don't have any table like that, sir. This process is not important, no, sir.
No, this method is not important.
In handout also we don't have, sir, that for 5 equal to 35. We have only for 5 equal to 0 degrees.
Achha. But that is for the clay.
And sir, we have NC. For NC we have, sir. For N sigma we don't have anything.
Okay. Just let me see it once. For NC you have. For N sigma, there is an equation for N sigma directly. Okay. So anyhow, this method is not that much important. So anyhow, we can ignore. So it's just if you aware the solution, that is good enough. Okay. So then the third method is the Coyle and Castello. The equation of this method is this one. AP into CNC plus Q dash and Q. Since we are dealing with...
Sir, it is Janbus method, no, sir. Janbus method.
Oh, this is Janbus method. Yeah, sorry. Coyle and Castello. This is the equation. The point bearing capacitor, the pile is nothing but AP into Q dash into NQ star. Now, NQ star shall be picked up for a given pi value and embodiment ratio. So, try to calculate L by D, and pi is 35. Given pi dash is 35. So what is the value of NQ star?
Sir, nearly 40.
Nearly 40. Okay. So 35 is somewhere here. And what is the value of L by D?
33, sir.
33. Okay. So 33. Yeah, approximately 40. So L by D is 33. L by D 33. So draw a horizontal line corresponding to 35. So draw vertical line approximately 40 plus something. Okay, and simply substitute Q dash is overburden pressure only, 17 multiplied by 15. That's it. So here L by D is 33.3, pi dash is 35. So NQ star is 48. So NQ star is approximately 48. The exact value is 48. Even if you take approximate value, no problem as such. So NQ star value is 48. So once NQ star is known, rest is cakewalk. Q dash into NQ star into AP. 15 into 17, this is overburden weight multiplied by NQ star is 48 from the graph. Then AP is cross sectional area 0.45 by 0.4. So what we get is 2479 kilonewton. 2479 kilonewton. Now the last part of the sum is what is the value of the QP based on the part A, B and C. Now here if you compare the QP values from Meyerhof method, it is 1014, and Vesic method it is 1559, and Coyle and Castello method 2479. If you are so confident, then you can take average of all the three. There is no problem absolutely. Okay. So in geotechnical engineering, one of the foremost important thing is your decision, your understanding about the soil. So this is not like your structural engineering where everything is fixed. So that's why most of the structures will fail because of the foundation failure. There are very rare structures which have failed because of the structural design fault. So most of the structures will fail because of poor performance in the construction or because of the poor foundation design. Okay, so if you look at in general anything, most of the buildings get undergo repair only because of the foundation design, improper foundation design or foundation failure. So this is the fact. But it is unfortunate that so a lot of importance will be given to superstructure and the least importance will be given to foundation engineering because nobody sees inside the soil what is happening. Since nobody sees, that only gives the problem in the later term. So there are more number of buildings which has been collapsed because of the poor foundation design rather than lack of the structural design. You can look into it, the statistics. Okay, and at the same time, getting a good geotechnical engineer is also very difficult. It's really tough understanding the soil. So therefore, if you are so confident, then you can take the average of all the three. Here in this case, so it is presumed that the last method, part C, Coyle and Castle, has given very higher value. So therefore, average of Mayer half and Vesic average can take care. That is average of 1014 plus 1559 by 2. So approximately 1250 kilonewton is the allowable load. Sorry, ultimate point bearing capacity. And if you want to determine the allowable, divide 1250 by the factor of safety, maybe 3 or maybe 4. Now the second sum is the pile is embedded in the clayey soil. So this is also straightforward. Mayer of equation, that is QP is nothing but CNC into AP. For the deep foundation where pi is 0, so we have been keep on saying that the value of NC shall be taken as 9. So either you can write CNC into AP, or when you are dealing with the deep foundations in clay, you can directly write the equation as 9 Cu into AP. 9 Cu into AP. So this is 9 Cu into AP. Now only one of the important aspect of the Cu is among the three given Cu values, which value shall be picked up? Anyone can throw me a small light? Which?
100, sir.
100, correct. Why?
Because, sir, it is on the tip of the pile now.
Yeah.
End
So,
point.
first of all, we are calculating the point bearing capacity. So, meaning thereby, the soil beneath the tip of the pile is going to bear the load. So, of that soil, the cohesion value is 100. So, therefore, only that particular value shall be taken. So, again, I repeat, the soil which is below the pile tip only shall be considered for the point bearing capacity calculation, not even above the pile tip, which shall be simply ignored. That's it. So here the tip of the pile is resting on clay with Cu is 100 kilonewton per square meter. So QP is nothing but 9, that is NC value, into 100 into pi by 4 into d square. So 116.5 kilonewton. Next, basic method, same equation, QP is equal to AP into Cu into NC star. But here the approximate equation that can be used for calculating NC star is that IR or IRR. So as per the basic, the IR equal to IRR equal to 347 into Cu by Pa minus 33. And this method also restricting the IR or IRR to, I think, 300. it should not exceed 300. Yeah. So here, if you substitute the values of Cu and Pa and calculate, so the value of IR or IRR can be obtained as 314. But the method says that this value by no means should exceed 300. So therefore, limit it to 300 only. And since IRR is known, and from the table we can pick up the value of NC star, that is 11.51 for IRR of 300, and the value of NC star can be picked up as 11.51. So once NC star is known, QP is equal to AP into Cu into NC star. Substitute and calculate the point bearing capacity of the pile, which you will get as 149 kilonewton. 149 kilonewton. So as per the Meyerhof method, it is 116.5 kilonewton, and as per the basic method, it is 149 kilonewton. Now here also, either we can take average of these two, 116.5 plus 149 by 2, or you can adapt to lower value, that is 116.5 kilonewton. Doesn't matter. So the average value of QP is 116.5 plus 149 by 2, that is 133 kilonewton. So anybody has any question? This is simple and straightforward. There is no hanky-panky. No assumptions, so no derivations, no complications. Simple and straightforward. Substitute all the parameters and keep calculating. But again, I repeat, so in reality, the pile load calculation is not that much simple. Okay. So that's what about how to calculate the pile load capacity of individual pile. So just I will request you to note down a pile group. Just note down the sum. A section of a 3x4 group pile in a layered saturated clay is shown below. The piles are square in cross section, that is 356 millimeter by 356 millimeter. The center to center spacing B of the piles is 889 millimeter. Determine the allowable load bearing capacity of the pile group. Use factor of safety is equal to 4. Note that the groundwater table coincides with the ground surface. So there are two layers. First layer having a thickness of 4.57 meter, and the second layer have a thickness of 13.72 meter. So this is the pile group. In one direction, you can see there are 4 number of piles. So opposite to this screen, so there might be another 3 number of piles. So it is 3x4, total 12 number of piles are there. So here, so 3 multiple. Yeah.
In the before question, I have small doubts.
Yeah, ask me.
Sir, in the before question, we have given like complete clay or complete sand, no, sir?
Correct.
In the first question. If it is like half part sand and another half part is of clay, by using Wesik's equation, how to find it, sir?
By using Wesik's equation.
Like we have the formula the AP into CNC plus sigma naught NC, N sigma star, no, sir?
Okay, let me see it. In case of Wesik's method, now you are saying that if it is a 2 different strata.
Yes, sir.
So for example, here in this case 15 meter. So first of all, the Q dash will change. The Q dash will be maybe you have to take overall. So 17 multiplied by 15. for AP.
Sir, what about 5 if it has 2 5?
Two different pi values.
Yes, sir.
If it is two different pi values, means you have to take summation.
Like cohesion term also will be coming, no, sir? I know.
Oh, in that case, you have to take
clay
it
and
is
sand.
it is summation, or whatever the layer. Suppose say, what can we assume? If the bottom tip is in the sand, and above the tip, if it is in sand, sorry. Let me draw the picture. Sorry. So based on the picture, please tell me what is the condition that you are assuming. Now, above what we shall take, sand or clay? This is the
Sand.
pile. So here you want to assume this is a sand, and here can we assume it is a clay? Is this all right?
Yes, sir. Even I am saying half of the pile is sand and another remaining part is clay. In that case also.
Okay. So then let me also draw another picture. So say this is the ground surface, and you mean to say this is sand and the rest is clay. Okay, rest all clay. Is all right?
Yes, sir.
So there is no difference between these two cases in one way, because when you calculate the QP, what you need to consider is what kind of the soil exists at the tip. Okay, so there is no difference between these two, as long as whether the sand is above half or up to the tip, doesn't matter. But there are some conditions, like for example, let me take another intricate case. Say for example, this is the pile. Okay, the layer right beneath is, say for example, this is sand. This is sand, and at very shallow depth there exists a clay. Very shallow depth. Let's say this is hardly a 1 meter. Hardly 1 meter. Now, how to deal in this case? Because these two cases are straightforward. Since the pile tip is in the clay, you consider only the soil is in the clay only. Only thing is, when you calculate the Q dash, so you have to consider overburden of summation of sand plus clay, or sand alone or clay alone, doesn't matter. But
sir,
sir, 5 we have to take of clay or sand?
Pi. So,
Yes,
pi of sand only.
Okay, sir.
Because this is overburden, na? Overburden present. So whichever is causing the overburden, same thing you have to take.
Sir, for if it is in the clay, then we'll use AP, CU, and C star, no, sir.
Correct.
Then sigma naught dash pi.
It's true. So in that case, you have to use this equation. These two cases, then in that case, yeah. So in that case, you need to calculate only IR, IRR in these two cases. Whether sand is up to half or up to the tip, doesn't matter. You have to use this equation. So you don't need to bother about the overburden stress. You have to simply pick up IRR and NC value. That's it. Okay. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay. Now, but there is some specific case where we can take is, let us presume this condition. There exists a sand right beneath the tip, but for very shallow depth, then there is a clay. So in this case, you may treat for calculation of the point bearing capacity as sand only, no problem, straight away. But one important thing that we need to keep it in mind is, since the clay area exists relatively at a shallow depth from the pile tip, there is a possibility that this clay might be undergoing the settlement. So therefore, instead of the pile capacity, you should give more importance to settlement calculation. So instead of the pile capacity, you should give equal importance to the settlement, because this clay is undergoing the consolidation settlement. Okay, so just please everyone note down. Maybe if time permits, I will take one case study on the pile foundation. This Wednesday is not possible. Okay. Next week, I will try to discuss about one of the case study, a real life case study. So please note down. So the section of a 3 by 4 meter pile group in a layered saturated clay is shown below. The piles are square in cross section, 356 by 356 millimeter. The center to center spacing D of the piles is 889 millimeter. Determine the allowable load bearing capacity of the pile group. So use factors. Now just recall to morning discussion. When you are dealing with the pile group, so one school of thought is, now you need to assume two separate cases where the pile group is acting like a block. The entire pile group acts like a single block. In that case, you need to determine what is the width of the pile group LG and the length of the pile group, that is BG, in the perpendicular direction. So LG and BG. So I have also re-emphasized, in case of the block behavior, the pile and soil in between the piles will act as the monolithic block. It is like a square having a geometry of LG by BG sinking in the ground. That's what is the meaning of block. Or alternatively, so the pile group capacity is nothing but summation of individual piles. Summation of individual piles. So you need to check for both these conditions, 1 and 2, as a block and as an summation of the individual piles. Now in the given sum, it is a clay soil, so therefore you have to follow the all philosophy related to the cohesive materials. So cohesive materials. Now another important thing is, so your ultimate bearing capacity QU is again comprises of summation of point bearing capacity plus the skin friction. Point bearing capacity plus skin friction. So this QP and QS shall be considering as a block or considering as a individual pile. So let's try to understand. So all these, how to calculate the pile group capacity. So can I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the given geometry of the pile. So first, this is the equation in case of pile group embedded in clay soil. I'm taking this as an individual pile. So pile considered as a summation of the pile capacity of n number of piles, individual piles. So n1 number of piles in the length direction LG and n2 number of piles are in the width direction. So 9 AP into Cu is nothing but the point bearing capacity QP, that is at the pile tip. Then since there are two clay strata 1 and clay strata 2, so we can treat two different lengths, L1 and L2. So L1 is having a depth of 4.57 meter and L2 have a depth of 13.72 meter. Since the cohesion of the strata 1 is 50.3 and second strata is 85.1, so one can able to assume different value of alpha, that is alpha 1 for the layer 1 and alpha 2 for layer 2. Alpha 1 for layer 1 and alpha 2 for layer 2. So this is the first term is corresponding to skin friction of the layer 1 and the second term is corresponding to skin friction of layer 2. Skin friction of layer 2. So now this together is called as a QS, the skin friction capacity. Skin friction capacity. Now here unknowns are in the QP. So we know the CUP. So here in point bearing capacity, what is the value of CUP?
$85.1.
Exactly. So here, since the pile tip is resting in second clay, so it is 85.1, straightforward. But when you calculate the skin friction, you need to pick up the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. These are called as the adhesion factors. And P is the perimeter. L1 is 4.57 for first layer, L2 is 13.72 for the second layer, and CU1 and CU2 already known. CU1 is 50.3, CU2 is 85.1. Now let us try to understand how to pick up the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. Since we are considering the individual pile, so which method shall we follow? Alpha method or beta method or lambda method?
Sir, we can follow any method now.
You can follow any method as you rightly said. Correct. But here, since I have written alpha, so for the simplicity, we can follow the alpha method. But do not confine to alpha method. We can use any method. Okay. So CU1 is 50.3, CU2 80.51. The top layer CU1 is 50.3. Now, and there is another relation that is given. First calculate Cu by Pa. So the first layer, Cu1 by Pa. Cu1 is 50.3 by 100, 503. And the relationship between Cu by Pa and alpha 1 is given in tabular form. As I told, this table will be provided in the exam, so you don't need to bother. Or alternatively, if you are asked to calculate the alpha value, then you have to calculate the alpha value using the Sladen equation. So remember, let me go to that so that you will not get confused again. So in case of alpha method, the equation for unit skin friction is Fs is equal to alpha into Cu, as you can see here, and alpha can also be calculated by empirical equation that is given by Sladen in 1992, that is C into sigma naught dash by Cu power 0.45. So you have to be a bit careful in the exam. So be careful whether it is asked to calculate alpha value by the Sladen equation, or have you been provided this chart, which is a relationship between alpha versus the SU and drain strength, or the third way is it is calculated ratio of Cu by Pa, and from this value you need to pick up the value of alpha 1. So we can follow any one among these three methods. Okay, so this I also explained when we are solving for the first problem, and I am repeating again. The value of alpha can be picked up in three ways. The first way is use the Sladen equation as shown here. Alpha is C into sigma naught dash by Cu power 0.45. This is first way. The second way is if undrained shear strength of the clay is given, for a given undrained shear strength, pick up the value of the alpha. Maybe you can follow the second method here. Here, what is the value of the Cu? What is the value of the Cu of the first layer?
50.3.
Yeah, corresponding to 50.3, you pick up the value of alpha, which is approximately 0.9. Which is approximately 0.9. Okay. There is one important thing that you need to remember is in the x-axis, you have to be a bit careful. There is something called as undrained shear strength. There is something called as undrained cohesion. Both are different. Both are different. So this SU is undrained shear strength. Undrained shear strength. Suppose if you recall your UCS test, there the Cu is nothing but that is capital Q by 2. Capital Q by 2. Where Cu can be called as undrained cohesion and Qu can be called as undrained shear strength. So this is what is the difference you need to understand. Okay. So undrained shear strength and undrained cohesion. So here the SU is undrained shear strength, not the undrained cohesion. Undrained cohesion. But if nothing is mentioned, you can presume both are same and write a statement that it is assumed that undrained cohesion is nothing but undrained shear strength. But in reality, they are not same. They are not same. So let us go to our
sir, what is the third method? Can you tell once again, sir? What is the third method?
Oh, the third method means this ratio of Cu by Pa. Ratio of Cu by Pa1. The table 11.10 will be given in the exam.
Okay.
Okay. So calculate Cu1 by Pa 0.503. For this value from the table 11.10, alpha 1 is 0.68. Similarly, for layer 2, Cu2 by Pa is 0.85 and alpha 2 is 0.51. 0.51. So now we know everything. So substitute in the equation. Substitute in this equation sigma Qu. So here N1 is it is 3 by 4 pile group. So 3 and 4 multiplied by the QP term 9 C and C, that is Cu is 85.1 into NC is 9 into AP square, that is AP that is 0.356 square. It is a square pile plus alpha 1 into P into Cu1 into L1. So alpha 1 is 0.68 alpha 1. P is perimeter 4 into 0.356 and Cu1 is 50.3 L1 is 4.57. And similarly for second layer alpha 2, so this is alpha 2 into, so this is perimeter P into, so this is Cu2, that is cohesion of second layer, and this is length L2. So this is alpha 1 into perimeter P into, so this is Cu1 into L1. So substitute everything and calculate the pile group capacity, treating each pile is acting like an individual pile. Each pile is like an individual pile. So this gives the ultimate pile bearing capacity as 14011 kilonewton. 14011 kilonewton. So if anybody has any question, please ask me right now.
That perimeter 4 into 0.356 watts.
This is perimeter. Is a square pile, na? 0.356.
0.356 is for each pile. We need to write the block. Okay, okay. Yeah.
No, this is individual pile we are considering. Block has not come yet. It is individual pile. Because we have multiplied 3 multiplied by 4, na? Individual pile. Now in step 2, now we will go for considering the pile group as a block. Piles acting as a group. So herein the very first step is you need to calculate what is the length of the pile group and what is the width of the pile group. So how do you calculate the length of the pile group? So if you recall, the equation is n1 minus 1 into the spacing between the piles plus capital D plus capital D. Similarly, in case of width, it is n2 minus 1 multiplied by the spacing between the piles plus the diameter of the pile. So in length direction, there are 4 number of piles. So 4 minus 1 into the spacing is 0.889. So if this is the spacing, and this is n1 minus 1, n1 minus 1 into D plus this is capital D, the diameter of the pile. So the length of the pile group comes out to be 3.023 meter. Similarly, width of the pile group, so this is n2 minus 1 multiplied by this is D plus capital D, that is diameter. This is 2.134 meter. 2.134. So now, since we are considering as a block, we need to pick up the value of NC star. For calculating the NC star, let me show. You need to further calculate. For calculating the NC star, you need to calculate LG by BG and L by BG. LG by BG and L by BG. So let me show you that relationship in case of the pile group. Yes. So you just look at, in case of the pile group, so the NC star can be picked up based on the L by BG and LG by BG value. LG by BG value. So try to calculate LG by BG and L by BG. So corresponding to these two, see for example here LG by BG is 1.42 and L by BG is 8.57. So sorry, what are the values? LG by BG is 1.42, 8.57. So this is 8.57. So it is very high value, and this is 1.4 in between. So again, this comes out to be any value. It is becoming saturated. So 8.5. 8.5. I think this is square pile. Now we can directly go for LG by BG. Oh, it's not square. square, sorry, square. So you will get approximately 8.5. NC star is approximately 8.5 from this graph. So calculate LZ by BZ and L by BZ. So use these two parameters to pick up the value of NC star. So that comes out to be approximately 8.5. Can I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
So now, yeah, see from that table, yeah, from this figure, so L by BZ is approximately 8. So you can see behind 5, the value is almost becoming constant. So it is immaterial. Behind L by BZ of behind 5, it doesn't make any sense. So you can directly take the value of as 5 only. So from the figure 11.141, NC star is equal to 8.57. Now the equation for calculating the pile group capacities. So this is QP, point bearing capacity. So this is QP. So this is QP. Plus we have a 2 layers. So therefore summation of first layer and the second layer. So this is again CNC into AP. Your AP is nothing but LZ by BZ. LZ by BZ and CUP. Since it is a point bearing capacity, your CUP is nothing but 85.1. LZ is 3.023, BZ is 2.134, and CUP is 85.1 because this value, because the pile is resting on clay whose CU value is 85.1. Then NC star is picked up as 8.75. 8.75. Next. So here when you calculate the skin friction, we don't use any alpha value or something. So nothing is mentioned. So we can, what we directly take is summation of perimeter multiplied by Cu multiplied by delta L. Delta L. So this is the equation. Yeah. So look at the equation. Delta Qu is equals to, as a block, summation of 2 into Lz plus Bz multiplied by Cu and multiplied by delta L. Multiplied by delta L. So 2 into Lz plus Bz, that is 3.023 plus 2.134 into Cu is 50.3 multiplied by 4.57, that is for the first layer, and Cu of second layer is 85.1 multiplied by 13.72. So if you substitute and calculate, so what we get, the pile load capacity is 19217 kilonewton. Now as per the statement, the pile group capacity is lower of is the block or individual summation of the individual piles. So individual piles is 14011, but group is 19217. So therefore the lower is 14011. So we can take sigma Qu as 14011 kilonewton. So this is ultimate bearing capacity of pile group. And if you want allowable capacity of the pile group, Q allowable is nothing but 14011 divided by the factor of safety. So what you approximately get is 3503 kilonewton. 3503 kilonewton. Now one important thing that you should notice is when we have calculated the pile capacity of the individual pile, we hardly got, so say 500,000 kilonewton. But when we have gone for the pile group capacity, see it is drastically increased. So 3503 kilonewton. So very large pile group capacity, very large value of the load bearing capacity. So this is the advantage of the pile group, and this is also one of the fundamental reasons why we always go for the pile group rather than the individual pile. Yeah. Can I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so note down this sum. Okay, so this is also for the practice of pile capacity calculation on the pile group only. A group of 9 piles with 3 piles in a row was driven into a soft clay extending from ground level to a grade depth. The diameter and the length of the piles were 30 centimeter and 10 meter respectively. So the unconfined compressive strength of the clay is 70 kilopascals. So the piles were placed 90 centimeter center to center. Compute the allowable load on the pile group on the basis of shear failure criterion for a factor of safety of 2.5. So this sum is almost replica of the previous one. Only thing is this is a uniform clay, single layer, and the pile length is 10 meter only. So follow the same philosophy. You need to calculate the pile group capacity considering the piles act as a block and the piles act as an individual pile. Everyone, please note down and start.
Sir, here gamma given is dry density of the clay.
Yeah, it's not dry
Okay.
density, rather we can take bulk density, gamma 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. So can I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Hope everybody has noted down. So this is the given details. Length is 10 meter, diameter is 0.9 meter. Sorry, spacing is 0.9 meter, diameter is 0.3 meter. Undrained shear strength is 70 kilopascals. So cohesion can be computed from the QU, that is U is equal to QU by 2, that is 35 kilopascals. So two school of thoughts. One is to consider it as a block failure. The second school of thought is consider it as an individual pile failure. So let us consider. So this is the typical cross section. There are 3 by 3 pile group, 3 in one row and 3 in another row. So if you draw the cross section, then indicate on it what are the length of the pile group and width of the pile group. So since it is a uniform layer of clay up to a 10 meter, so we can write the first case is considered as a block failure. QGU is nothing but CNC into AP plus sigma CU into PG into delta N. So given clay, so pi is 0, NC is 9, straightforward, and CE is equal to CU is equal to 35 kilopascals is also given. Then for cross-sectional area calculation, so AP is equal to LG by BG. LG means N1 minus 1 into D plus small d, that is spacing, plus capital D, that is pile diameter, multiplied by BG, that is N2 minus 1 into the spacing plus the pile diameter. So LG and BG. So this is how we need to calculate the cross-sectional area of the pile group. LG multiplied by BG. So if you calculate, if you substitute N1, the small d value and capital D value, what you get is 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter. So the cross-sectional area of the pile group is nothing but 4.4 square meter. Now perimeter, since we are considering the block, the perimeter is nothing but 2 times of LG plus BG. 2 times of LG plus BG. So 2 into 2.1 plus 2.1. So the perimeter shall be calculated as 8.4 meter. And length is 10 meter. So everything is known. Simply substitute in the equation QGU. CU is 35, NC is 9, and AP is 4.4. So then perimeter is 8.4. Then length of the pile is 10 meter. Then again CU is 35. CU is 35. So substitute everything and calculate. So what we get, the pile capacity when it is acting as a block is 4326 kilonewton. 4326 kilonewton. So this is step 1. So just note down. So I hope it is clear to everyone how to calculate the pile group capacity considering as a block failure. Can I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Next is treating as an individual file. So QU is nothing but N1, N2, so number of files multiplied by QP plus QS. So QP is Q multiplied by AP plus the QS is summation of alpha into CS into AS. So same equation and multiplied by number of files N1, N2. So first of all, the cross-sectional area AP is pi by 4 into d square. So pi by 4 into 0.3 square. This is 0.07 square meter. Then QB is equals to C and C. CE is 35 that we have seen from the previous slide, and NC is 9 because we are dealing with the clay. So CNC, the product of CNC is 315 kilonewton. Then AS is nothing but the surface area, which is nothing but perimeter multiplied by the length. Perimeter multiplied by the length. So pi d into L. So 3.141 into 0.3 into 10. So this comes out to be 9.42. So the next is since we are dealing with the individual file by the alpha method, so you need to calculate the value of alpha. So among the three procedures, you can follow any one. Now here I have followed the Sladen method. So alpha is calculated by Sladen empirical equation, that is C into sigma naught dash by Cu into Cu power 0.45. So the C is again empirical constant. You can assume any value. The Cu is different for the driven files and for the board files. So here I have assumed the files are driven files. So therefore Cu is nothing but 0.6. And substitute in the Sladen equation. Alpha is equal to 0.6 into you need to calculate the sigma naught dash. Sigma naught dash is average effective vertical stress. Average effective vertical stress. So at the ground surface it is 0. Then the total length is 10 meter. So at a depth of 10 meter. So since nothing has been mentioned about the groundwater table location or something, so at a depth of 10 meter, it is 10 into 18. So 180 kilopascals. 180 kilopascals. So average means 0 plus 180 by 2. So 0 plus 180 by 2. So that is 90 kilopascals. And use 90 kilopascals here. And substitute and calculate for alpha value. So the alpha value is calculated as 0.918. Addition factor comes out to be 918. So can I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
So this is the final answer. So please note down. So QU is nothing but QP plus QS. So since we are considering the individual file, QP is CNC into AP plus QS is alpha CS into AS multiplied by number of files N1 and N2. So C is 35, NC is 9, AP is 0.07 plus alpha is 0.918. Just now we have calculated. CS is again 35, which is nothing but CU only, and AS is 9.42, and number of files are 3 by 10. So if you substitute and calculate what we get, the ultimate file bearing capacity considering the individual file as 2922 kilonewton. So QZ is nothing but least of block failure or individual file failure. So here again we are getting least as individual files. So therefore 2922. And allowable load is nothing but Q allowable is equal to QZ by the factor of safety, 2922 divided by 2.5. So 1169 kilonewton approximately. So please note down. So I will stop it here. So maybe we can discuss the remaining in the next class.